6 years ago, Tae-hyung stormed into Jungkook's home office, a thin layer of sweat decorating his forehead. "Pack your bags." What? Jungkook took his glasses off, rubbing his eyes afterward. "Pack your bags." Why? Tae-hyung shrugged with a smirk. "I hate when you don't tell me things," Jungkook complained but complied. He pulled out his suitcase from the storage closet and began to fill it with necessities. "How long will we be gone?" "However long you please, my dear," Tae-hyung spoke in a transatlantic accent. "I have a job. Yeah, no one that you should quit. I'm not gonna let your parents' company be our main source of income." Tae-hyung shrugged. "That's not the reason I want you to quit." Jungkook rolled his eyes and continued his packing. 2 hours later, they were at the airport. "Can you please tell me where we're going?" "I already told you. It's a surprise. We've been dating for 4 years. Do you still have to keep secrets?" "Yup." Tae-hyung popped the P. Jungkook whined in that annoying tone that always gets Tae-hyung to budge, but this time, Tae-hyung just smiled. "You know I don't like flying on your stupid private jet," Tae-hyung gasped. "Don't call Veronica stupid. Of course, you named your jet, people," Tae-hyung cackled. They boarded Tae-hyung's private jet, or Veronica or whatever the film is, and took their seats. "I feel like this thing gets bigger and bigger every time I come on here," Jungkook marveled. "I know something." That Jungkook slammed a hand over Tae-hyung's mouth to cut him off. "Don't even finish that sentence." As revenge, Tae-hyung licked his hand, which Jungkook ended up wiping on Tae-hyung's cheek. After a very, very, very long flight, Tae-hyung graciously took Jungkook's bags and even gave him a piggyback ride since Jungkook was too sleepy to walk. "Where are we?" Jungkook grumbled, tugging the hood of the hoodie he stole from Tae-hyung over his head. "I'm glad you're excited, darling." "We're in the city of love," Jungkook gasped. "Paris." He's always wanted to go, but between student loans and paying insane rent, he couldn't afford it. Jungkook smothered Tae-hyung's beautiful face with wet, sloppy, adoring kisses. "Come on, we'll miss our dinner reservations." Tae-hyung grabbed Jungkook's hand, leading him out of the airport. "You look stunning, my love." Tae-hyung's arms wrapped around Jungkook's waist from behind. Feather-like kisses decorated his skin to Tae-hyung's liking. "You've bought most of my clothes for me." "Yeah, know that it's not about the clothes," Tae-hyung countered. Of course, Tae-hyung owned an apartment in Paris. Another one of those things that Tae-hyung had just forgotten to tell Jungkook. Once they had finished freshening up, they departed towards their destination, which Jungkook still didn't know. "I would blindfold you, but the Parisians already think we're weird enough." Jungkook giggled like a schoolboy on a sugar high. "Don't you already?" Jungkook stopped dead in his tracks, looking up at the tower before them, the Eiffel Tower to be exact. "You did not?" "Yes, I did," Tae-hyung stuttered smugly. "No, you did not." "Don't believe me." Tae-hyung took Jungkook's hand in his, guiding them towards the entrance. Jungkook had never felt this giddy. He was living out his dreams with the boy he loved most. The sun had begun to set, shining rainbow hues onto his lover's tattooed skin. All the employees seemed to recognize Tae-hyung immediately, letting him through with a cheeky smile. Going into the elevator together, Tae-hyung jammed his finger on the button to the top floor. "Isn't everybody on the first floor?" Jungkook questioned while looking out the glass walls of the elevator, watching the people get smaller and smaller. "Then why are we going to the top?" "You'll see, sweetheart." Jungkook bit his tongue. The elevator was much faster than Jungkook was used to. They made it up in seconds. "After you." Tae-hyung bowed as though Jungkook were a king. "Thank you, my darling." Jungkook put on his most posh accent. Hey. Pet names are my thing. Taehyung pouted. You know I despise them. Taehyung smiled, pulling Jungkook close as he led them to a singular table at the very top, overlooking all of Paris. The best part was, they were alone. Nobody was up here. Shouldn't there be people around here? Not tonight. Taehyung pulled out Jungkook's chair like a gentleman. Please don't tell me you bought it out. Taehyung shrugged with a raise of his brows. You know I hate when you do that. Jungkook leaned in once Taehyung sat down across from him. But you love it though. I do not. Jungkook could barely finish his sentence before Taehyung closed the gap. They both laughed through the kiss. Jungkook secretly loved it. Jungkook watched in awe as the sun dipped below the horizon. It was the most beautiful sunset he had ever seen. He sipped his champagne, noticing that he had only taken a couple of sips as he was preoccupied. He kissed Taehyung at any second he could. What? They were in the city of love. Sue him. They could never run out of things to talk about. After 4 years of dating, their chatting never slowed. Not a moment died without a bit of banter. They rose from their seats after devouring the nicest meal Jungkook had ever eaten and decided to enjoy their surroundings. It was dark now. The stars were dimmed by the drifting clouds, but the full moon made up for that. Surprisingly, the ground below was desolate. Only a few tourists here and there. Paris is so magical, isn't it? Jungkook looked to his left only to find Taehyung gone. Tae looked to his right to see Taehyung, down on one knee. Oh my god! Jungkook backed away, gripping on the sturdy railings for balance. Mr. Ji and Jungkook. Jungkook's hands clasped his shirt. He could feel his heart beating wildly through it. I know we are both young and you may be a little bit terrified right now. Jungkook nodded, swallowing a spoonful of bile. But I can't imagine living the rest of my life with anyone else. I've been dying to make you mine since our first date. I love you more than anyone else in this world. Jungkook, will you marry me? Jungkook's lips were quivering as he spoke. Yes. 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 Their kiss was sultry and powerful. It sent fiery, hot pulses throughout Jungkook's body. Jungkook broke away to breathe, smiling when Taehyung chased him for more. I love you so much, and the rest is history. I mean, I just feel so free without it on. I'm not bound to anything anymore, Jungkook confessed. That's incredible, Jimmy marveled. The audience clapped once more. Not gonna lie, Jungkook lived for the applause. The screaming and cheering generated life throughout his body. But right now, he was short-circuiting. It didn't feel like it usually does. It's not giving him the serotonin that he craves. Jungkook realized he'd been zoned out this entire time. Thank you again, Jungkook, for joining us tonight. I would tell you all to pre-order his book, but it's sold out everywhere. But make sure to check your local bookstore to see when the next shipment will be in. Thank you for tuning in. Good night. The audience gave one final farewell cheer as Jungkook and Jimmy exited the stage. Jungkook showered Jimmy with praise afterward for being so respectful. He genuinely had a good time. Besides the fact that his ex-husband is here, Jungkook rushed into the washroom for a quick breather. He splashed some cold water on his face to help cool down his burning cheeks. He hovered over the sink, not even daring to glance in the mirror. He drew out his shaky breaths in search of a steady one. That was until the door opened. I read your book. Jungkook's heart caught in his throat. Taehyung read his book. The book that was about him. Why you did? Jungkook didn't face him, didn't even lift his head. Of course I did. You're an amazing author. Jungkook's heart took the wheel instead of his brain. He turned around to face Taehyung with all the courage he could muster. Your hair. Jungkook's fingers twitched up to touch it but quickly flinched back. It's not like that anymore. You noticed. How could I not? Jungkook turned away to rub at his forearms like he was shivering. I knew it was your favorite. Why I cut it. Why were you thinking of me? How could I not? Taehyung always knew how to throw Jungkook's words back at him. I didn't know you'd be here. Jungkook poorly changed the subject. I wish I could say the same. Taehyung chuckled somberly. I shouldn't be talking to you. Jungkook attempted to see himself out before getting stopped by a familiar hand he knew to be Taehyung's. The same ones that gripped delicately, roughly, and longingly. The same ones that caressed his face when he was in need. The ones that created pathways along his skin and into his heart. Stay. Taehyung's low voice made it sound like a command, but Jungkook knew better. He was begging. You know I can't. Jungkook broke free from Taehyung's grip to leave him behind once more. Deja vu. Jungkook pushed past reporters and other people he didn't care about in search of his trusty bodyguards. Normally, he would look for Yoongi, but Jungkook knew he couldn't tell him what had happened. How emotional he had gotten hearing Taehyung sing live, or even hearing him on the car radio. Great show tonight. You're so inspiring. A reporter shoved a microphone in his face, seeking any sort of response. Thanks. Yeah, Jungkook didn't want to be mean to her, but he excused himself as quickly as he possibly could. He was dodging bullets around here. Everyone was screaming questions, comments, or rude quirks at him. None of which felt very good. Somehow, he kept his composure. Jungkook had quite the temper. Growing up with younger sisters taught him some things. After collecting his bodyguards, he squeezed himself out of the high-capacity hallway and out into the world, which was somehow even worse. The paparazzi is and always will be his worst enemy. Jungkook attempted to cover his face with his hands, which strengthened his sense of hearing. You take one sense and exchange it for the other. Who's the book about? Jungkook, why were you crying during Taehyung's performance? My wife left me because of you. Jungkook struggled with that one. For a long time, he's been wondering if he should have published his book. Should he have stayed in his marriage even if he wasn't happy? He's aware that his book may be jarring for some people. But if they gave it a chance, maybe they would see it for what it's worth. He didn't write a whole novel shaming his ex-husband. Taehyung was good to him. Taehyung was a great husband. The book is more about realizing that they were both in the wrong, Jungkook mostly. Realizing that the man who you thought was the one, actually wasn't. Jungkook thought that releasing his book would loosen the binds of guilt, but it only strengthened them. And now he knows that Taehyung has read it. Taehyung must have had no idea Jungkook was feeling this way. They did fight a lot at the end of their marriage, in which Jungkook revealed a strange amount of vulnerability. Taehyung was oblivious to it all. Jungkook would often bring up their problems after it had been bugging him for a while, but Taehyung would claim that he had no idea what Jungkook was talking about.